how we work. So to recap, our vision for the Buckinghamshire website is to give residents more free time by making everything they do with the council faster and easier. We work using an agile project management method. This means we investigate a problem, and we come up with a solution, usually in terms of a web page or pages, and we get it live to users so that we can test the effectiveness. Working like this helps us to speed up the process, and it also allows us to get instant feedback from people who use the service rather than just relying on our own assumptions. When working on a project, we emphasise working closely with the service to ensure that we're meeting the resident needs and the service goals. We also consider what we can technically do on the website alongside keeping our content consistent with our in-house style guide. So with that out of the way, today we wanted to talk about our current progress on the website migration. Some important work we've been doing for parents and carers of children with special educational needs and disabilities. We're going to have a catch up with Colin to see some of the improvements to the website that we've been making, including updates around search results. And we're also going to be doing a quick review of what we're doing, looking at the waste and recycling section. So this is me. Onto our migration progress. We have been working really hard the last 3 weeks. As we come to the end of migration, we're really pushing services now to sign off more and more pages. And as you can see from the slide showing now, we've published lots of new content, things around contaminated land, including how to request an environmental land search and guidance for developers who may be building on land that is suspected to be contaminated. Noise and nuisance, so some useful guidance around how to deal with noisy neighbours and nuisance lights or bad smells. Business licenses, we've finished now migrating all business licenses over to the main Buckinghamshire Council website. That includes the final few ones around caravan licenses, hypnotism licenses, street trading consent, and some sex establishment licenses. We also have now got live the new bus pass and travel section. This helps residents to plan a bus journey online, apply for an older or disabled person's bus pass, report problems with a bus stop, and also includes more guidance around support if you have difficulty using public transport. So what's left? A little bit. We have a few sections left. However, the good news is nearly all of those sections have been started or are in progress. This includes some highway developer license applications and guidance for developers on specific highway projects. The remaining work that sits within environmental health, including pest control and air quality, migrating our LGPS pensions content over to a brand new microsite for them, and publishing new content for special educational needs and disabilities advice service, the SENDIAS service. Alongside doing all of this work, we continue to review and refine our approach to content migration, as well as documenting this in our content design framework. And we can use that for new starters, but also people working on other digital content projects around the council, such as the new intranet. I'll now hand over to Kira, as we're really excited for her to tell you all about the work that we're doing on the Send School Transport pages.
Thanks, Stuart. So this first slide will show you what we sort of started with. At the start of every migration project, we always look at the current pages and assess what needs to be done with them. As you can see from this slide and the many kind of screenshots I've included, we started with content that was both scattered and duplicated across sites. So next slide, please. So what did I learn from this? So I learned that there was kind of no clear process for users to follow in terms of actually accessing the support. The duplication made it really confusing for users who may have accessed the information through Family Information Service, as we all sort of pointed towards each other, and kind of goes back to my first point of how there's no clear process. And users actually may not know where to start with this duplication. So all these points kind of raise questions about where the content should actually live. Should it live on our site or should it live on Family Information Service? So next slide, please. So what we've done, so after kind of discussions with various teams, we agreed that the content should live on the Family Information Service underneath the local offer. To ensure that users were able to actually locate the information, we created a landing page that will redirect users to the Family Information Service underneath the section Education and Send. And hopefully this gives users a clear path to follow. So now I'll showcase the new pages in the next slide. So these are our new pages. So we've grouped those scattered pages into few inline indexes, making a nice step-through process for users to follow, restructured the content to make it clearer, and added back the key information about how users can access the report that was missing in the first place. So hopefully those will be live very soon, perhaps this week, we're hoping. But yeah, that is me. Who's next? Colin, I'll pass over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm Colin Harris. I'm the website operations manager. So one of my responsibilities is to look after some of the technical development that we do for the Wagtail system. We used to be developing this full throttle, but we get a couple of days a month in order to make small fixes and improvements to the site. This month we've done particularly well. We've managed to get about 10 different things through, some of which I will cover in a little bit more detail shortly. First couple are around search, so we'll cover that a little bit later. Then we also had some improvements to our location templates, which is to allow additional text to be displayed a little bit more flexibly within those templates. So it should allow us to prioritize content such as opening times, etc., to the top of the page rather than having the map at the top of the page, which should help some of our colleagues, particularly the library service. We've also done some bit of housekeeping in terms of updating and making that the listing summary mandatory field that will enable our editors to ensure that we always use that field, because sometimes that is not always displaying within our system, and as well as the listing title and making sure that that appears specifically within search rather than across other areas. Finally, we've got a couple of issues that we were dealing with in the drafts were not displaying correctly within within blogs, so we fixed that issue, and also fixed an issue around the displaying of images when we attach the web links to Facebook and Twitter. The final two tasks we've got on there is based around the work we're doing for the pension service and creating a new subsite for them. And as part of that, we are ensuring that the existing subsites that we have, which is Family Information Service and Care Advice Bucks, they are able to make full use of all of the templates that we have been creating over the past year. So we now have parity between all of our sites and the ability to add and delete content. So if I go on to the next slide, I will talk about a little bit further those first two topics, which was search. Search isn't always the most exciting thing to talk about and to show in a show and tell, but I thought it was worth covering in this particular case because we had an issue with displaying of policy pages and also inline index pages where we had a parent page and then underneath that several children pages, which were continuations of different steps through. So on the left-hand side here, you see what we used to display. We needed a search for waste. There were 1,500 results, and a lot of that was because there were lots of policy pages, and each one of those pages was indexed individually, which created quite a messy look on the left-hand side there. But compared to the right-hand side, which is where we have now, which has taken away all of those children pages within that policy page, and now you now only have one page which is listed, which is at the top there, which is the household waste collection policies for Southern Buckinghamshire. So all of the information which is in those policy 13, 1C, 1B, etc., is still within that page, but we now only display it as one thing. The second thing that we managed to do is on a slightly different template, which is our step-by-step, which has multiple pages where you click next to go along. And you can see that in the bottom half of the right-hand side, where it has the local charities, and then underneath that subheadings. If we go on to the next page, I'll show that in a little bit more detail. So one of our high volume pages, particularly this time of year, is the transfer testing results. Previously, we would have all of these individual children's pages. So the secondary transfer test, the transfer test results, the register for transfer tests, all of those would appear under the transfer test, and so the user would struggle to find the relevant result for them. And combined with, we also had similar titles to that for the second link down, which was the guide to grammar schools. That would again have multiple pages to display. So in this case, now we've tidied this all up, and we think it's displaying much more clearly to the user, so that they have the inline index at the top with the subheadings underneath it, so that people can see where they go to and what part of that of those stages that they are looking for, and then the policy information, which is underneath that. Rather than displaying each and every single one of those pages, we're just displaying it once. So that deprioritizes that information, so that people can find it if they need the guide, but they don't go to it first before they've read the content above it, which is the place where we're expecting the majority of people to get their information. So hopefully this will really improve our search. Obviously, we will be reviewing this as time goes on, but like I said, search is sometimes not the most interesting of things to cover, but I think this will make a substantial improvement to the users moving forward.
Hi everyone, I'm Greg. I'm a senior content editor, and I'm going to be looking at the waste and recycling improvements that I've been working on with Dominic. So as part of the digital team's agile approach that Stuart was talking about earlier, we want to keep improving our web content. So one way of doing that is monitoring website feedback, analytics and service feedback as well. We're currently reviewing the waste and recycling section to ensure users can find and complete the tasks they're searching for. So we're looking at things like revisiting the original user needs that we identified for these pages, identifying new user needs, using analytics to identify or confirm problems that we think we have with the content, and also restructuring and rewriting content as well. Next slide, please. So yeah, we're looking to improve the user journey around reporting a missed bin collection. This is just one of many areas we've been looking at, but we knew from feedback that users were frustrated that when they entered their address to report a miss, they were taken to an updates page instead. And I've just added some of the feedback there we'd got around from the users around that task. However, we did also need to juggle the needs of the service as well, who wanted to reduce the number of missed bin reports they received. So just on the right there is the collection page. So people were actually being taken to that page when they clicked the button to report a bin, which is what was causing a lot of the confusion and frustration amongst the users. Next slide, please, Stuart. So a couple of things we've been working on to improve this. We've published a new streamlined report and missed bin collection page, which is one you can see on the left there. So this signposts the bin collection issues page in a before you start section, but it doesn't actually force the user to view it before they progress to report a bin. So we felt this meets the user's expectations really based on the title of the page and what they expect to achieve within that page. Rather than take them away to something unexpected like the bin updates page. The other thing we're doing as well is currently working on a step-by-step prototype, myself and Dominic, and you can see that on the right-hand side there. So that's using our step-by-step template to just lay out the different steps in that process and hopefully make it clearer for users. So we're due to test that with the service next week, I think it is, and get some feedback on that from them, and then hopefully that can be the next iteration of the report a missed bin task. Next slide, Stuart. So some other areas just to mention that we've worked on recently, we've done some work with commercial waste. There can competing with other companies who provide waste services. So we did some work to try and surface that paid service in Google search. We've also done some work on the household recycling centres content, so just regrouping some of that and reducing the number of options that we gave on the landing page. And we've tidied up some waste and recycling policies as well. So instead of presenting those on a single page, we now just present them on the most relevant content pages as related links. And then a couple of future areas of focus. We're going to be looking at garden waste collections and reviewing that. Lucy's done some work on the test site around that already, so hoping to move that forward next. And we're also going to be testing some new IAs with an external panel of users in Optimal, which is a user testing tool. So Dominic's been doing some work around that as well at the moment. And that's it, I think, for me. I think that's everyone's shoot.
Thanks so much, Greg, and thanks everybody. That was a really good overview of the last few weeks' work. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to ask a question here or put it in the chat.
Not so much a question, Stuart. It's Peter here, Peter Parker, Head of Digital. I just wanted to highlight in a really broad way the work that's been done over the last probably 2.5 years. We started this project, pre-Unitary, with somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 pages on our legacy sites. I opened up the spreadsheet this morning that we're using to track it. We have 260 left. So we're kind of 97% of the way there now. So I think big kind of congratulations and really well done to everybody who's been working on that over the last couple of years. It's been a real sterling effort. It does feel like it's coming to an end, so these show and tells may also change as well. They may come to an end as well. We will have to look at how we keep people updated on what we're doing, because as Greg particularly highlighted, we don't ever stop. So we previously migrated the waste pages, but we knew there was things that we wanted to do and kind of improve them over time. But yeah, I'm really proud of what the team have done over the last couple of years. As I say, this particular part of that journey is coming to an end. The legacy sites will be no more fairly soon. But yeah, been a good times. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, John. John, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, just to echo what Peter said, I think it's brilliant, the progress that's been made. Please let me know when the final page from the legacy sites has been migrated, and I will certainly advertise it and celebrate it in my Cabinet Members report.
Excellent.
Cabinet, because I think it's fantastic news. So well done to all the team again.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's it.
Yep,
Stuart, do you want to wrap up?
I will do. Thank you everyone for watching. Yeah, we'll see you in 3 weeks' time. Cheers.